So, good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss upon the burning topics and most read articles in the Hindu newspaper, which can be helpful for the our gaining knowledge as well as we can it use as self study as well as we can increase our current affairs and GK also. So, gentlemen, so friends, we are going to start. The first article is in Hindu newspaper is Center declares June 25 as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. It will commemorate the massive contributions of all those who endured the inhuman pains of the 1975 emergency, says Shah. Congress dismisses it as a headline grabbing exercise in hypocrisy. The Union government has decided to observe June 25, the day of emergency was imposed in 1975 by Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Union Home Minister Amit Shah announced on Friday in the parliament. This day will commemorate the massive contributions of all those who endured the inhuman pains of the 1975 emergency. Mr. Shah posted on X, the Gazette notification on the decision does not provide any English translation for the name of the day, simply using the Hindi words in Roman script. A literal English translation, however, would be Constitution Assassination Day. And the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the day would serve as a reminder of what happens when the Constitution of India is trampled over. It is also a day to pay homage to each and every person who suffered due to the excesses of the emergency. A Congress unleashed dark phase of Indian history, Mr. Modi said. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh said the announcement was yet another headline grabbing exercise in hypocrisy by the non-biological prime minister who had imposed an undeclared emergency for 10 long years before the people of India handed him a decisive personal, political and moral defeat on June 4, 2024, which will go down in history as Modi Mukti Divas or Liberation from Modi Day. The Gazette notification issued on Friday said that a proclamation of emergency was made on June 25, 1975, following which there was gross abuse of power by the government of the day and people of India were subjected to excesses and atrocities. It added that the people of India have abiding faith in the constitution and the power of India's resilient democracy. Therefore, Government of India declares 25th June as Samvidhan Hatya Divas to pay tribute to all those who suffered and fought against the gross abuse of power during the period of emergency and to recommit the people of India to not support in any manner such gross abuse of power in future, the notification said. That means government of India trying to say the this condition cannot be happen will not be happen in future by the any government. That's why they are declared as 25 June as a Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Dictatorial mindset. Mr. Shah said the government's decision was intended to honor the spirit of millions who struggled to revive democracy despite facing inexplicable persecution at the hands of an oppressive government. He added that the observance of the day will help keep the eternal flame of individual freedom and the defense of our democracy alive in every Indian, thus preventing dictatorial forces like the Congress from repeating those horrors. On June 25, 1975, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in a brazen display of a dictatorial mindset, strangled the soul of our democracy by imposing the emergency on the nation. Lakhs of people were thrown behind bars for no fault of their own, and the voice of the media was silenced, Mr. Shah said. So, friends, we are going to discuss upon the background information and background of the 1975 emergency. Prime Minister of Indira Gandhi has paid homage to all those great men and women who resisted the national emergency of 1975. 25th June 2024 marked the 49th anniversary of the declaration of the national emergency in India. What is an emergency? We are going to discuss upon what is the emergency and how government can implement emergency or government can apply emergency in all the country. What are the functions and how that can be happening in country? It refers to legal measures and clauses within a country's constitution or laws that enable the government to respond swiftly and effectively to extraordinary situations such as war, rebellion, or other crises that threaten the nation's stability, security, or sovereignty and democracy of India. That means any government can apply or implement the emergency in country which time they can think they feel government our country has fear threat or stability or security sovereignty and democracy threaten to democracy, so government can implement, they have power to implement emergency to prime minister. These provisions are outlined in the article 352 to article 360 under part 18 of the constitution. The emergency provisions in the Indian constitution draw inspiration from Germany's Weimar constitution. Significance: what are the significance of the emergency? These provisions usually give the executive branch temporary authority to bypass standard legislative procedures, limit certain rights and freedoms, and implement policies that would ordinarily fall outside its jurisdiction under the normal condition. Types of emergency in the Indian Constitution. National emergency. Article 352. Under Article 352, the President is empowered to declare a state of emergency if he is satisfied that the security of the country or any part of thereof is threatened by war, external aggression, external emergency, or armed rebellion. That means internal emergency. The term armed rebellion was inserted by the 44th Amendment replacing internal disturbance. The declaration grants the executive vast powers to suspend fundamental rights except Article 20 and 21, allowing the government to take necessary measures to address the crisis effectively. Duration and parliamentary approval. The proclamation of emergency must be approved by both of the houses of parliament within 1 month from the date of its issue. However, however, if the proclamation of emergency is issued at time when the Lok Sabha has been dissolved without approving the proclamation, then the proclamation survives until 30 days from the first sitting of Lok Sabha after its reconstitution, provided the Rajya Sabha has in the meantime approved it. If approved by both of the houses, the emergency continues for 6 months and can be extended to an indefinite period with an approval of the parliament for every 6 months. Every resolution approving the proclamation of emergency or its continuance must be passed by either House of Parliament by a special majority. Revocation of proclamation. A proclamation of emergency may be revoked by the President at any time by a subsequent proclamation, such as proclamation does not require parliamentary approval. The emergency must be revoked if the Lok Sabha passes a resolution by simple majority disapproving its continuation. Applicability of national emergency. A proclamation of national emergency may apply to the entire country or only part of it. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976 enabled the president to limit the operation of a national emergency to a specific part of India. Judicial review of national emergency. 38th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975. So the next article in the Hindu newspaper we are going to discuss, that headline is centralized hiring leads to cultural barriers in Eklavya schools. The recent centralization of recruitment for tribal residential schools across the country, which introduced the Hindi competency as a mandatory requirement, has resulted in a flood of requests for transfers. The large numbers of staff recruited from the Hindi speaking states are protesting postings to the Eklavya Model Residential Schools EMRS located in the southern states, where the language, food, and culture are unfamiliar to them. Though central government officials point out that willingness to the posted anywhere in the country was part of the requirement for those applying for jobs. The bigger worry may be the impact on tribal students being taught by teachers who are unfamiliar with the local language and culture. Until last year, staff recruitment for the Ministry of Tribal Affairs flagship Eklavya schools was done by the state authorities. In the 2023 budget session of Parliament, however, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced that the responsibility was being shifted to the National Education Society for Tribal Students NESTS, which has now been given the task of staffing 38,000 positions in over 400 Eklavya schools across the country. Staff shortage. Officials said the centralization of recruitment was meant to address a severe shortage of teachers in the EMRA system and to standardize recruitment rules across states, which had earlier used varying criteria and applied reservation quotas as per their state legislation. The examination for this centralized recruitment process, the 2023 EMRA staff selection examination, was entrusted with the National Testing Agency, now guarded by several scandals. The examination was for the first round of 4,000 vacant teaching and non-teaching positions across the Eklavya schools. In June, NESDS said that 303 principals and 707 junior secretariat assistants had been selected along with thousands of other teaching and non-teaching positions. However, given the new requirement of Hindi competency, a large number of selected candidates hail from Hindi speaking states, many of whom now want transfer from their postings. Transfer policy. NESTS has been forced to post a notification on its website saying at present no request for change of place of posting is being considered. Government sources said that NESTS will soon roll out a transfer policy which is likely to be modeled on similar policy for the Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya JNV and the Kendriya Vidyalayas KV. They added that there was nothing unusual about the requirement of basic Hindi language competency, as this is a mandatory for JNV and KV recruitment as well. Unlike in KVs, however, where students hail from across the country, as they are often family members of central government employees, most tribal students in Eklavya schools would benefit from teachers who understand their local cultural context. The issue is that for EMRS, especially teachers and school staff being hired from within their local communities is the obvious way to go ahead. These communities have very specific context under which learning can be made conducive, and it would naturally help to have teachers who understand that context, said Aparna Chaudhary, a social worker who runs the Delhi based Karta initiative, which has worked with JNVs and EMRSs. The next article is New species of dogfish shark discovered in Kerala harbor. Scientists from Zoological Survey of India ZSI have discovered new species of deep water dogfish shark Squalus hema, namely this Squalus hema from the Shakti Kulangara fishing harbor in Kerala. Squalus is a genus of dogfish sharks in the family Squalide, commonly known as spur dogs, and are characterized by smooth dorsal fine spines. The discovery made by a team of scientists led by scientist Binish K. was published in the Journal Records of the Zoological Survey of India. The shark species from the genus Squalus and Centroporus are often exploited for their liver oil, which is in high demand in pharmaceutical industry, Dr. Binish said. And the next article is India shows good progress on SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals Niti Aayog report. And the Niti Aayog on Friday released its fourth evaluation report of India's progress on the 16 Sustainable Development Goals adopted in 2015 by all United Nations member countries, giving India the score of 71 out of 100 as compared to 57 in 2018. SDGs, self-development goals, sustainable development goals are directly linked to people's welfare, well-being, and quality of life. VR Subramaniam, Niti Aayog CEO, told press persons at the report's launch. And the next article printed in the Hindu is Prachanda loses trust vote in Nepal. Nepal Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal Prachand on Friday lost his vote of confidence, leading to the fall of his 1.5-year-old government. Prachand, 69, had sought a vote of confidence after his coalition partner, the Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist, on July 3, withdrew its support to the government. After Friday's vote, Speaker Devraj Ghimire announced that of the 258 parliamentarians present, 63 voted in the Prime Minister's favor while 194 voted against. One lawmaker abstained. In the 275-member parliament, 138 votes are needed to prove the majority. President Ramchandra Podel on Friday called on parties to present a claim latest by 5 pm. Sunday to form a new government. As per a deal reached between the Nepali Congress and the CPN UML, the two largest parties in parliament with 88 and 78 seats respectively. The UML's KP Sharma Oli is the said to stake a claim to the government. Earlier in the day, Prachand said in a parliament he was betrayed by the UML and that a government by the two largest forces in parliament was a threat to democracy. I am worried about regression and authoritarianism, he said. An alliance of two largest parties fuels anarchy and weakens democracy. So friends, uh, we are going to stop here our news article reading and have a nice day. Thank you for watching.